I've invested thousands in both the stock market and Pokemon cards, but one of them is way more profitable short term. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down both options and we're going to figure out exactly where you need to be putting your money into. Make sure you stay till the end so you can understand how to invest your money in a crazy market like this one. I'm also going to be giving away this card right here, but more on that in a little bit. Pokemon cards have produced some insane returns over the last decade. Some cards have gone from a few dollars to a few hundred or even $1,000. Not to mention grading and other things that you can do to maximize your profits. Meanwhile, the stock market, specifically the S&P 500, has historically averaged about an 8 to 10% increase annually. So the real question is, are Pokemon cards actually a better investment or is it just hype? So let's just start off with some data. The S&P 500 has historically averaged about an 8 to 10% return annually. Let's assume it's January 2020 and you have $10,000 ready to be invested. If you were to throw it into the S&P 500, you would now have a holding of roughly $28,500. Now it's kind of hard to decide how we would invest in Pokemon cards, so let's break it down into a few different options. In 2020, $10,000 could have gotten you 15 Cosmic Eclipse booster boxes. Today, those are worth $81,000. You also could have bought 32 raw Moonbryons, which would be worth around $76,000 today. Now the list goes on and you can invest in millions of ways with Pokemon cards. But it's very clear to see that Pokemon can yield a huge return if properly invested. Now this is not me telling you to strictly invest in Pokemon and not the stock market. It's very smart to diversify as you never know when a specific market will crash. Pokemon has outperformed the S&P 500 and gold stock even for the last 2 years in a row, but for all we know, everything can crash 75% tomorrow. Now let's talk about some fundamentals when it comes to Pokemon cards though. With Pokemon cards, it's not just the money that brings us joy. I mean, look at people ripping packs in the year 2000 before we even knew it was worth money. Pulling a rare or expensive card is exciting regardless of its value. And the fact that tons of cards now are worth hundreds or even $1,000 makes it more fun to just rip some packs. Now this is a feeling that you could never get from the stock market. But ripping packs is also a gamble. You're not going to get a hit in every pack, and chances are you won't get a hit in 5 packs. A lot of people end up losing money in this hobby because they rip packs for the fun of it and end up making nothing. Which is totally fine as long as you know the risk and are willing to lose some money. But if we're talking profit, then we should consider a different strategy. There are tons of different apps that you could use to watch the markets and see what cards and products are trending and selling for a good price. Now most apps relate to eBay last sold when it comes to looking at pricing, but if you want to look at the charts yourself, then I definitely recommend Double Hollow. Now when investing in stocks, you deposit money, and that's about it. At first, nothing. You check again in an hour, nothing. Stocks are a long-term game. If you're looking at stocks as something that's going to make you rich quick, then you need to give your head a shake. Like I said, the S&P 500 averages an 8 to 10% increase annually, which isn't bad, but stocks make you money, which isn't bad, but stocks bring in more and more over time due to what's known as compound interest. Let's say in the first year, your total grows 10%. The next year, that total is now added by 10%, and so on and so forth. The more money that you contribute and the longer that the money sits in the market, the faster it'll climb. Now, Pokemon cards don't exactly work like that. Yeah, your cards will increase in value, but your portfolio itself won't increase year after year. Fun fact, if you deposit $5,000 on the day that your child's born and you never add another penny, by the time they're 65, that would be roughly $2.5 million. But by the time they're 30, it would only be around $87,500. Now this is where things get really different between stocks and Pokemon cards. If you're invested in the stock market and somehow decide that you want your money back, you can withdraw all of your funds, typically with no fees. Most brokerages have 0% commission fees, so you should just get all your money back with no issue. And this also means no shipping, no storing, just money. If you want to sell your Pokemon cards, it may not be as accessible. When selling online, platforms like eBay charge a 13% fee to every order. And even if you brought your cards to a show, vendors typically pay between 70 to 80% based on what cards you bring them. If you drop your phone, your stocks are fine, but if you drop your Pokemon cards, then you might be taking a big loss for such a small mistake. People think that Pokemon cards is an easy money game. I buy cards, I wait a bit, I sell cards. But you need to make sure you know what you're doing. Do your research, see what cards are in a downtrend and would be good to buy right now, or see what cards are spiked way high so you could sell them for a good price. There's no answer to how this entire market's going to look in a few years, so please do your own due diligence and don't throw all your eggs in one basket. Pokemon cards go through hype cycles. When it's hot, but the market can cool off just as fast. Logan Paul created a hype cycle back in 2020 when he ripped a base set box live on stream. Since then, the market's been reaching all-time highs up until October of 2025 when the market crashed out of nowhere. You may be noticing though that in the past couple of months, the market's been moving way back up again. This is mostly due to, you guessed it, Logan Paul. His Illustrator Pikachu card just sold for over $16 million and brought the hype right back into the hobby. Don't fall for the hype though. Like I said, anything can happen, and if you want to be smart with your money, then stocks are a lot more stable.
Alright guys, it's giveaway time. If you want to win this card, all you have to do is like this video and leave a comment down below, and I will be choosing the winner in the next video.
So at the end of the day, what is the better option here? Well, both. It's more than okay to diversify yourself. You should never have all of your eggs in one basket. Now you need to do your own due diligence and research the stock market and Pokemon cards so you know what the best option is for you. But just remember, stocks are stability and Pokemon cards are opportunity. All these other YouTubers and even I don't know what's going to happen with this market in the future, which is exactly why I'm saying you need to be doing both. You need to set yourself up for retirement no matter what happens right now. So let's break down a clear example of how you can be diversifying in a smart and safe manner. Now, I'm not you and we all have different lives, but let's just say after all of your expenses on a monthly basis, you're left with $500. You could split it 50-50 and put half into stocks and half into Pokemon. If you continue to do this, both portfolios will grow gradually over time and you're not just praying your cards give you early retirement. Even if you can't quite invest that much, $20 goes a long way in both scenarios. Stocks are a long-term game, so don't expect to see much of a return right away. Let's jump in and take a look at my stock portfolio along with my Pokemon portfolio. Even with my stocks, I like to diversify, but not too much. If you split your money up too much, it'll take longer for those funds to grow. I currently have holdings in CNQ, MNT, Nvidia, and the S&P 500. These are all invested in a TFSA, or a tax-free savings account. When I withdraw my funds many years down the line, I won't have to pay taxes on anything, which is huge. Now, I'm not going to jump too deep into my stocks and why I'm invested in them, but I definitely recommend you do your research on what I'm invested in. If you are curious though, let me know and maybe I'll consider doing a separate video just related to stocks. Moving on to my Pokemon portfolio, as you can see, it's not just cards that I'm invested in. I also have a decent sealed collection coming along. It's so easy to fall off track with Pokemon and buy something because you like it rather than buying it because it's a good investment. As of February of this year, my whole collection is worth just around $12,000. Now, tons of modern are great movers such as 151, which is a crazy good investment, but I would also recommend investing in some mid-era or vintage cards too. Think about it. The older the product, the less supply, the higher demand. It's the perfect recipe for investing. Every base set pack getting ripped means there's one less in the world, meaning the supply is getting lower and lower, meaning the price is going to go higher and higher. At the end of the day, Pokemon cards have potential for a huge upside, but stocks are a much more reliable and safe option. It's whether you're investing with discipline or just chasing the hype. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that this video was helpful and showed you guys some insight on where you should be putting your money into. Please drop a like and comment if I missed anything or if you have any questions related to this topic. Bye guys.